Yeah, you know, my perception is, and let's talk about district attorney's offices. That's what I would have been familiar with. Um, my perception is that it wasn't, they did operate tremendously differently. You had some places like Travis County that rarely saw the death penalty. And then you had Harris County that would apparently seek death penalties on a much more frequent basis. That was not a reflection of directly of the demographics of the county, as much as it depended on who was the leader, who was the DA. Now, of course, I guess there's going to be some relationship between those two, but not necessarily always. And, you know, a particular DA could be very hard on crime and not be a big believer in the death penalty. It could be vice versa. And, you know, there's a whole, if you ask people in Harris County, Dallas County, or wherever, what are the things you would like your district attorney to believe, you know, on a scale of 1 to 10, what's important to him, let's say. You're gonna, let's say you got, okay, if we polled the whole county, this would be the list, and there's not gonna be any human being that's gonna exactly mirror that list. There's gonna be differences. So I think it was a from the top down thing. You know, Henry Wade was district attorney of Dallas County, and, you know, I'm not sure of the exact dates. I'm sure some of it was when there was a death penalty, because it was that long ago. Some of it may have been after there wasn't one. I don't know. But Henry Wade was a very enthusiastic, zealous prosecutor, and that attitude definitely spilled down through the courts. I would have to say that really the worst excesses, and I'm not talking really just about death penalty cases here, although some of them did come out of Dallas County, Randall Dale Adams, for example, and others. But a lot of cases where there were excesses by prosecutors, and there were a lot from Dallas County. And I think that was a from the top down thing. And, you know, we're getting a little, let's say, philosophical here. As a leader, you have to be careful, you know, the same way, you know, on a bigger scale, the president has to be very careful about every word he says, because there are people hanging on that word, and there are people that will interpret that word, and every word comes out of his mouth is extremely important. And same thing for a district attorney. You know, what the district attorney projects that they're about. Are they about, just to oversimplify it, are we about obtaining convictions, or are we about doing justice? And no doubt where somebody like Jim Mattox would come down on that, and it's going to be, even though Jim is from Dallas, way across the scale from where, say, Henry Wade would come down on that. And does that make a huge difference? In my opinion, yes, it does. So, you know, in Harris County, you had district attorneys that were pretty gung-ho on the death penalty and thought that they should go out and seek it, and that they were going to have staff that was going to do that. And this is, you know, I know this is very anecdotal, and I'm not basing this on much except just impressions. You know, and as far as the ethical conduct of assistants, and I don't really much have an impression that any particular places were just hotbeds of prosecutorial misconduct, except it was occasionally difficult to ignore Dallas County. Maybe maybe I just happened to get the cases that were, not the best cases or whatever. And here's another thing. You have, besides the district attorneys, you have the police. And that's important too. I think there's some definite interrelationship there, because, if you have a district attorney who the police say is soft on crime, that influences their conduct. If he's tough on crime and going to prosecute these people you bring in, that influences their conduct. The police departments that I remember a lot of questions being raised about, to some extent Dallas, but Houston, it's just maybe unfair to blame, Houston Police Department is what, even back then, 3,000 officers? To reach conclusions on the basis of a real limited number that I know of. But, gee, there was the Joe Campus Torres case, and then there was the Calvin Sellers case, in which that was a habeas corpus case that was in our division at the time we had it. And we were defending a conviction that was based on a confession that, at the time it was signed, the accused person who signed it was on the floor of the back seat of a police car with his head on the floor and a policeman's boot on his head and a gun pointed at his head, saying, "You will sign this or you'll never see the lights of Houston again." That is police misconduct. And when our own, witness testified to that, it was rather shocking. I guess we were naive in a way. We always wanted to think that our clients were good guys and would play by the rules. Not all of them did. And so I'm really optimistic and maybe still naive somewhat. I still think great majority of DAs, assistants, police officers are motivated to act honestly, with integrity, do their jobs the right way, and that those who don't are the minority. I don't think that they're all tainted. I've known too many of them, and known a lot of them who have had such integrity that it was very impressive to me, police officers and prosecutors.